Hi, this is Rosie Gualiardo, founder of InnerBrilliance Coaching, and I'm here today with my guest, Paul Donato. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Rosie, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Good. We welcome you to this interview series I call Be Perfectly You, which is based on my signature program. And it is not about being perfect, but it's about being the real you so you can shine and attract all that you desire with ease, joy, and grace. So, a little bit of background on me is I've been a certified life and career coach since 2007. And previous to that, I was in marketing and advertising for 18 years. These days, I work with high achieving clients, helping them to get results while feeling happier every step of the way. And I spent decades studying neuroscience and positive psychology, as well as spirituality, to bring a really holistic approach to optimize my clients' lives. Now, I want to be able to share all of my learnings directly with you. So, I'm excited about this interview series where we're going to meet with a variety of experts to help you feel like you could have success and happiness in your work, life, and relationships. So, as I mentioned, today we're meeting with Paul Donato. He's a financial advisor, and we actually met on LinkedIn. But once we met, we found out we have some friends in common, and we stayed in touch, and we've worked together and partnered in some other capacities. So I felt like there was this instant connection, and I'm excited to have him here today because I know he's great at what he does, but also I know a lot of high achievers are so good at having it all together. But when it comes to their finances, they sometimes don't put as much energy or time into learning about them, being aware of them, or moving things forward. So, with that, I thought it would be great to have Paul here today. So, thank you for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rosie. Great to be here.
Well, I wanted to share a little bit more about your background, so I'll do that, and then we'll get started with our interview.
Okay.
Paul has been featured in NASDAQ Trade Talks, and he's been working as a financial advisor for over 24 years, serving over 2,000 clients. How's that possible, Paul? He's been recognized as a 5-star wealth manager for the last 10 years by Chicago Magazine, and he received the Ameriprise 2020 award for maintaining the highest level of client satisfaction. So, honestly, with that kind of background, I can't wait to have you talk to everyone about what you do and how you can help high achievers. So let's start with just a brief description of what you do.
Well, geez, thanks for all those kind words and those accolades, Rosie. Really appreciate it. So your audience knows I've been a financial advisor, like Rosie just shared, for the last 24 years. And my practice is devoted to investment management, retirement, and estate planning. And I work with a lot of high achieving clients that just don't have a lot of time, but they want to make sure that they're not falling into any financial pitfalls, making bad financial mistakes, but most importantly, because they're working so hard, they want to make sure that they're on track in regards to achieving their long-term financial goals. I've also had the pleasure of dealing with sustainable investing for over 24 years, which is really in vogue at this point in time. So with sustainable investing, it's dealing with companies that are considered to operate in an environmentally sound manner. They do embrace society as a whole and are properly governed. And by implementing that in my clients' financial plans, it's really made a big difference over the last 24 years. And I'm so happy that, in today's day and age, it's being talked about on a regular, consistent basis. A lot of companies are being monitored in that capacity. And I just love to see this is how the financial industry is really, heading towards that particular goal of sustainable investing and responsible management.
I've never heard of that, Paul. That's amazing. So you've been doing this the whole time. You've been aware of it, and I know sustainability, especially when I was in my marketing days a long time ago. I worked with some clients like McDonald's,
Sure.
Anheuser-Busch, theme parks, and Unilever, and they were mindful of their social responsibility, but it wasn't as popular back then when they were doing it. And now we hear so much about it. I didn't realize there was also a way to support with your finance. I mean, it makes sense, but that's great that
Yeah.
you have a mind toward it.
Yeah, and for me, it started, I worked with a client and he was a chaplain at Loyola University, and he was one of my first clients. And he wanted to work and invest he didn't want to invest in any company that dealt with tobacco, alcohol, or firearms. And
Mhm.
that was kind of the beginning of sustainable investing. And that's where my career kind of took me. So I had to screen different companies, different strategies to make sure that they met this particular client's objectives. And it kind of created somewhat of a niche for me. And throughout the course of the years, that niche has grown and grown and grown and has created quite a successful business for me.
Oh, it's really admirable. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, when it comes to high achievers specifically, how would you say you support them? Like I said, I know that we both know this. They're busy, they have a lot going on, really high stress jobs. I work with doctors, lawyers, executives. I'm imagining you do too. What would you say you can bring to the table that helps them out?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that I can bring to the table is how we have the ability to communicate and meet for that matter. And we have the ability, we use Microsoft Teams, so we can meet literally whenever the busy professional, high achieving person has time in their schedule. We also have a secure text messaging program that, if for my clients of mine, they have the ability to subscribe to. We can communicate through email, and then because the markets are constantly changing, I'm usually in constant communication with my clients. And so after a period of a couple of months, usually I have a pretty good handle on how often we need to touch, how often we need to communicate, and also what the best format to do that is. But it all starts, Rosie, with first and foremost, creating a plan and then
Mhm.
monitoring it to make sure that we don't need to make adjustments on the way, because things happen, whether it's COVID, a financial crisis, um, it could be a new baby, it could be a divorce, it could be a death. There's always adjustments that need to be made to the plan. It could be moving from the city to the suburbs, moving from the suburbs to the city. Lots of things can take place, right?
Right. Yeah. Those life changes or unexpected life changes that need to be considered. Well, I appreciate how in touch you can be with your clients. Then it sounds like once you get to know them a little bit better, because they are busy, you can find the right cadence, right? Where it doesn't all,
Yeah.
because you have a plan, you don't have to be constantly in touch, but you could be if they needed the support and or you find the right way that serves them.
Yeah, in fact, with the plan that I create for my clients through my website, we're able to track their progress towards their long-term financial goals in real time. So, like when COVID hit last April, my clients had the ability to log into their accounts, look at their plan to make sure whether or not they were still on track towards their long-term financial goals.
That's awesome.
It is, yeah, and it allowed a lot of my clients to be able to sleep, about a year or so ago, and that meant a lot to them, and certainly means a lot to me.
Right. I was just thinking what peace of mind. There's so much going on back then. And to have that additional peace of mind must have been so helpful.
Absolutely.
So, what would you say at the simplest level? What are 3 steps someone could take to get started?
Well, the first thing you want to do is give some thought to both your short-term and long-term financial goals. Write them down on the back of an envelope, type them into your phone, however you want to do it. Have some goals, and it doesn't matter if you might think that they're lofty at this point in time. Just write them down. The second thing is gather all of your financial information. Gather statements. If they're old, it doesn't matter. Just gather them. We could go online together and pull down more current ones. And then come in, we'll sit down and have a meeting. We'll talk about where you're at today, where you want to go in the future, and we'll put together a plan to get you there. And then as the relationship kind of continues or progresses, we'll always make sure to monitor it to make sure you are on track in regards to reaching their goal in those goals. And for some reason, if you're not, what types of adjustments we need to make.
It sounds great. It's simple stuff we know we need to do, but it can sometimes feel intimidating. But just breaking it down, keeping it simple, and I think working with a partner can make it so much more approachable.
Yeah, an objective set of eyes really goes a long way. And I think for some people, if they think their finances are kind of getting out of control because they're so busy, they're so successful, But when you put together a plan in place, it really solidifies. And I just see people sit back in that chair saying, okay, this is going to be our approach. This is our strategy. Okay, let me go back. Let me go back to surgery. Let me go back to, selling whatever I sell,
Yeah,
and,
right.
and Paul, just make sure we're on track in regards to, achieving our goals. And if for some reason, if you don't think we're on track, tell us what we need to do sooner as opposed to later.
That's a great point. I work with a lot of clients where we have what we call that negative self-talk, or that,
Sure.
monkey mind kind of going on in the back of your head, all the things that are keeping you up at night. So what I often say is, if you have a plan, you don't always have to stick to it really tightly, but if you have one, you can always veer off of it, but you do so mindfully. And I think that's what you're bringing up. Once you have goals written down, a plan in place, and even better, a partner to support you, if you need to outsource this to someone like you, then what happens is you're actually more available and present for what does matter to you. And it's your work, your family, whatever else
Yeah.
you want to focus on.
It really does give you a greater sense of control, and it allows you to have the time to focus your energy on things that are truly important to you in life.
Yeah, I love that. Well, you have been kind enough to share an offer with the InnerBrilliance community. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and thank you so much. So for any viewers watching, anyone within the Inner Brilliance community, I will extend this offer of a financial plan. It's called Foundational Advice at no charge. So if it's something that you might be interested in, give me a call, shoot me an email. I believe Rosie's going to go over my contact
Mhm.
information in a minute. But love to sit down, love to talk, love to get to know you.
That's so nice of you, and what a great offer. I think that would be amazing, just to get an idea, understand where you are, and taking that first step is just key. I think sometimes it's the first time you call someone to get support, like when someone calls me for a consultation, or I wonder if to call you, that's the hardest part, almost getting over that obstacle. But once you get
Absolutely.
started, someone like you can break it down for them and bring them along for the ride. So that's wonderful. Yeah, if you want to get in touch with Paul, we'll have all of this information in the description, but I just thought I'd share. You can reach him at 847-682-4942, or email him at Paul J. Donato, Donato, at,
It's Paul.J.
oh,
Donato.
sorry, I missed that. Good. Okay, perfect. Thank God you're here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Paul.J.Donato at M as in Mary, P as in Paul, F as in Frank.com. Or you could go to his website at ameriprizeadvisors.com, paul.j.donato, and you should be able to find him. Again, this will all be in the information below, so you can reach out to him. Thank you, Paul.
Hey,
This was
thanks,
so
Rosie, for
helpful.
having me. It's been great.
It's always fun to see you.
Great to see you as well.
Take care.
See ya.